Welcome, my friends, to once again to Cuentame USA with Moncho Camaño. Camaño, I'm saying Camaño because just for the Spanish speaking, it's Camano for these guys around here. Camano. So today I'm speaking with Craig Drabik. Drabik? Yes. He's the founder of his own project. It's called Stabbed by Prongs. And he just released a I don't know if it's an EP, LP.
It's kind of in the middle.
In the middle, 7 songs. It's titled Static Skin. It came last February. So I did my listening of the album, and also the other one that he published on 2023, I think it was. And
Yep.
there's a big difference between the two. And we're going to talk about that. We talk about this album, about Greg's adventures in music. And let's find out how he's doing. At least he looks like in a good spirit. So how you doing, Craig?
I'm doing good, thank you.
You're located in New York, in Buffalo, New York.
That's right.
Never been in Buffalo. Imagine. I'm in New Jersey. I'm not that far.
No,
I never
it's
been
nice
there.
in the late spring and early fall.
Yeah, I know.
Obviously cold and snowy in the winter.
Yeah, I know. Being in Rochester and Syracuse, never in Buffalo. Oh well, I'll make it someday. I'm gonna knock off Craig's door one day.
There you go.
That's all right. So let's find out a little bit about you because you've been in music for quite some time. I know that there was like a pause in between, and you're back with a lot of energy. So just tell me a little about your story, your teenage years, if you don't mind. Like music seems like it was always interesting to you, right?
Yeah, it definitely was. I guess my first real exposure to music was actually in church. I'm not much of a church person actually, but my parents would take me when I was little and noticed that, I enjoyed the music and got me into guitar lessons when I was, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old.
Mm.
And I did that for a while. And like most kids, you pick something up, you put something down. I played trumpet in elementary school and high school and into college. And then I started playing guitar again right around when I got to high school, like age 14, 15.
Hmm.
And played in a few bands back then. And this was the like late 80s, early 90s. So sort of the death of hair metal and then into grunge and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then saw Nine Inch Nails at Woodstock 94. And honestly, before that, never realized that keyboards could sound pissed off. So that was kind of a new world for me that I really didn't have a
Yeah.
chance to dive into right away. I went to college and then after school came out, had a little money, got a job and started collecting instruments and learning how to program synthesizers and sequencers and things like that.
Yeah.
That's sort of how I got into what I'm doing now.
Yeah. Mm. So it seems to me like you are always like very restless and very creative, even as a young kid, always thinking
Yeah.
about things and how to. Um, so tell me, you said that you were in some bands in the '90s in your teenage years.
hmm
Were you like the main guy, or you were just on the side, like?
Yeah, I played guitar in my first band, and that was really more of like a collective where everybody kind of did,
Mhm.
a third, a third, a third of the work. After that, I was in a band where I was more the featured guy. That didn't last all that long. Joined
Mhm.
up with a band. Now this is like early 2000s called 3 Pound Mind Trip. That was kind of fit into the like Linkin Park side of things, even though I was coming from more of a KMFDM frontline assembly, God Lives Underwater kind of vibe. and trying to
Huh.
do that kind of thing with the
Yeah.
metal band. So
Mm.
it kind of fit in with what was going on. It didn't really get any traction, um,
Right.
but it was
Mm.
fun while it lasted. I bring that band up because in between my two albums, about a year or so ago, I actually re-recorded one of those songs. I was going through my Access virus and realized I had all of the patches saved from back then. So
Mm.
I pulled out one of my favorite songs and reprogrammed it and called the singer and said, "Hey, when you're in town, come over and put a vocal down on this, play guitar on this." So he did last summer, and I put that song out. It's called Two Steps Back,
Right. I heard
which
it.
is on my Bandcamp. But that's actually a 3 Pound Mind Trip song from
Yeah.
like 2001.
Mm. Well, Frontline Assembly, they just played in Jersey yesterday
Did they?
at the
I
Dark
missed them in
Fest.
Toronto this time around.
Yeah,
They
Dark
sold
Force.
out early.
Yeah, they play at the Dark Force Fest in Jersey.
That's right. That's right.
They played
That was
yesterday.
this weekend.
Yeah, I never made it this time. I'm too old for that stuff. You know, I feel old. I'm like probably the oldest guy that if I show up. So I'm like, I don't know.
I'm still going usually. Frontline Assembly is my favorite band for various reasons. It didn't work out this time, but I
Mm,
had seen them. There was a long time where they just either they didn't tour, or they didn't come up this way, and I never had the chance. And then
yeah,
I've seen them like 7 times since COVID, I think.
yeah.
So seven
Wow,
times since 2019, 2020.
wow. You must be a big fan of them. I, I I know today London After Midnight is playing in an ultrasound. I don't know if you know them, but
Hmm.
they're playing today, the last day. But yeah. So, but you are a software engineer, right, Craig?
I am, yes.
That has a lot to do influence in your music, I guess.
It does. And even when we were talking about kind of my upbringing, like I learned to code when I was quite young as well. So those two interests really developed in parallel. It's really natural looking back on it that I would have gotten into synthesizers and sequencers, electronic music,
Mm.
coding, like kind of all of a piece. So yeah, yeah, there's definitely an influence there.
And I know you got a lot of gear in your studio, a lot of stuff. I don't know if you use all of them or you collect
I
some of
do.
them.
Well, it is a bit of a collection, but pretty much everything in here gets used or got used, I should say, on Static Skin. I've actually added a couple of things even recently as I'm kind of getting out of like mixing and promoting and doing that and getting back into starting to write new material and doing some remixes. So I've got some new synthesizers that have come in. So I'll spend a little time getting to
Mm.
know them before I start new material.
So you got a lot of, I guess, old technology and also new technology, all
Yeah,
together.
yeah. I work better in hardware with working as a software engineer. My hands are kind of messed up from working on the computer all the time. So
Mm.
last thing I really want to do is be on a laptop or in front of a computer with a keyboard and mouse if I can help it. I'd rather work on knobs and buttons and physical keys. It's just easier for me physically and it's more fun.
Mm. So how many years was it, like were you like in post, not doing music?
About 15 years.
That's a
About
lot of
15
years.
years. Yeah, it was. And then COVID hit and suddenly we were all locked in our houses. And I actually had pretty much everything that I had when we stopped 3 Pound Mind Trip. I still had all of that equipment. So I
Mm.
pulled it all out and hooked it back up and started playing around with it and got the bug again and sold some things, brought some new things in, kept at it. And the first record was really the good stuff that came out of that process. Wound
Mm.
up on the first record.
Mm. Were you like talking to other guys while you were doing all this, like putting together the studio and stuff, or it just like everything was like hidden from anybody?
I was trying to put a band together. Actually, that was
Oh.
my first thought was I'd like to put a band together and get a few people in and see if we can get something going. And it became kind of clear that I actually wasn't interested in that at all as I was building the songs up. I kind of had an idea of where I wanted it to go, and the further along I went, the less it fit with a band. And
Mm.
so I decided that I would just work with whoever decided to give me their time along the way, and then the rest I would do myself.
Mm.
And that's really how the album came out. The first album, mostly the contributions are from vocalists, and that's kind of the way I work now with Static Skin, was me composing all the music and then working with some vocalists that are in my network to finish the songs up.
Mm.
But I was still figuring that out in the first record.
Right. So what was the what was about, is there like a problem for you touring or moving along, going is not the driving, or what is it that for you that is not right now in your eyes focus?
For as far as playing live, yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's
like
just it's hard to. So for me, it's interesting. We were talking about Frontline Assembly playing Dark Force Fest earlier.
yeah.
Like, to me, that's a good live show for a band like me, and they bring a drummer and they bring a guitar player, and
Mm.
everybody is like banging on something or playing some instrument pretty much the whole time, and obviously Bill's singing. And
Right.
if I can't put a show on like that, then to me, there's no point in it. So now I have to start to collect people that are willing to put on the show. So you got to
Mm.
find a drummer who's willing to learn the parts and play the parts. Most of the singers are, a couple of them are from Buffalo, Rochester area. So in
Right.
theory, I could get those people on board. But like Kimberly from Bow River Down, I think she lives in Iraq, Kurdistan. So
Yeah,
having her
yes,
on the
you
tour
go
is not an
far.
option, right? So I would
You-
have to find just finding the people to do it, and then
Right.
finding the time to pull it all together and make it a compelling show.
Mm.
It's in the back of my head. I just don't know that there's a way around the practical issues that are kind of standing in the way of it.
Right.
Never say never, though. I'd like to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. I mean, your work is fully independent. It's do it yourself, but well, it's not do it yourself because you collaborate with a lot of people. So it's not like you are just by yourself doing music.
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course the songs change when they come back with the vocals on them, and
Right.
from there they'll get rearranged and kind of polished up. They're like polished demos, let's call it, when they go out to the singers. And then when they come back, I'll hear new things. I'll make changes to the arrangement, and
Mm.
the fun of taking like a raw vocal track and doing what I do with it to make it sound, glitched out or trippy or aggressive
Right.
or whatever is part of the fun as well. And I don't really know what that's going to sound like until after they've
Mm.
contributed their part.
And they contribute with the lyrics, right? Most of
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
And you don't change any of the lyrics. You don't tell them maybe you should change these couple of verses or no. Or that's up to them.
Rarely. Yeah, I have rarely gone back to a vocalist and said, "Hey, this part sounds a little awkward. Maybe we can clean that up." But they're all really good at what they do, and for the most part, I
Mm.
want to be surprised. So
Right.
unless I hear something that really kind of clashes with the music, I just let them do what they want to do.
Mm.
Um, I think the music is better for it. If it's all me, it's kind of boring for me, and in a sense, I'm making it for me. So um, without that like twist of working with somebody else, it's not
Mm.
as exciting.
Right. And your influences are like the dark electronic, IBM, and 90s industrial bands and stuff.
Yeah,
That's the music you love, but you also love other types of music, I guess. It's not just
of
that,
course.
but that's the this you just trying to make like not replicating those bands, but it's like an homage to them, to those bands
Yeah,
that
and,
you.
and I think sonically too, right? You think of, well, I want to create something that sounds like, you know, whatever. You might think, well, I want to make something that's dark and kind of ambient, but
Mm.
the easy thing to do is say, I want to make something that sounds like Delirium. Whether it actually comes out sounding like Delirium, right? It's not going to, because I have my own tools and
Right.
my own way of working and my own likes and dislikes that are different.
Mm.
and I've never been in frontline assembly. So my music is just not going to sound the same. But I don't really shy away from that kind of in my head saying, oh, this kind of reminds me of this vibe. I'm going to go with that because it's going to
Mhm.
come out in the end and people aren't going to
Yeah.
hear that particular song.
Yeah. So when you compose your music, are you looking for a specific female voice or a male voice? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. In the first album, I really wasn't sure how I or if I was even going to be able to finish it. Right, I was making these demos, and I thought they sounded good. I was interested in the music. Sometimes I'd talk to people, especially locally. Buffalo is like a rock town. We're the home of the Goo Goo Dolls.
Yeah.
A lot of alt rock, a lot of punk. Like
Yeah.
not a lot of people into this kind of thing. So finding people who might be interested in the style in the first place was kind of hard. Um, and then figuring out whether anybody would think it was good enough to give me their time to sing on it, I wasn't entirely sure going into it. So in that case, I put all of the tracks in a folder, and when somebody expressed
Mm.
an interest in working with me, I would just give them the folder and say, pick what you want. And a few songs made it to the end and didn't get picked. One of them is Pyromancer on this record, so one of them got
Right.
recycled with Static Skid. The other ones I ultimately decided they just weren't strong enough to move forward with. Maybe they'll get cannibalized someday.
Mm.
Can always go back to them and pull a drum part or something like that.
Yeah. Oh well. I guess you're not you consider yourself a Buffalo artist, or is just you just there because you could be anywhere and do the same
We
kind of
could be
music.
anywhere. Yeah, that's the way it is these days is people can be anywhere, and we can put a record together over vast distances. Gabby, who sang on Pyromancer, is in Portland, Oregon, so we've gone from Portland all the way to the Middle East and everywhere in between with the people I've been able to work with.
Yeah, pyromancer. Is that like the atmospheric? So I don't remember the name. There's
Yes,
that one,
it's
right?
it's the long one right in the middle.
Atmospheric. It sounds to me
Yep.
like, yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Um, well, in your lyrics, at least some of them, your own lyrics, you speak about a lot of social issues, and there is also psychology there. Uh, I don't know. The fall of the empires is very telling. I think it works for 2023, 2025, 2028. It's always going to be up to date. You don't have to change much, and
It's
that's
unfortunate that it still works because I wrote
yeah,
it about January 6th, so it does
right.
have a very specific meaning. But in building a song like that, and I don't really consider myself a great lyricist. I'm certainly not a great singer, but I try to think about what would make this song relevant longer term. So you try to make it more abstract than just singing specifically about one person or one event,
Mm.
so that hopefully over time it translates. Um, in this particular case, like I said, it was written about a specific incident involving a specific person, and
You
that
were
person
really
is
angry
still
at that
here.
time. So it's
So
like when you were pissed off.
I was, and I was also dealing with kind of this idea that, everybody knows somebody who's on the opposite side of the political spectrum. And it doesn't matter where you personally sit. If you're
Yeah.
passionate about it, you know somebody who's equally passionate about the opposite perspective. And it's just when things come to a head in society like this, I imagine it was the same during like civil rights, where you just
Mm.
look at those people and think, I love this person, their family, their friends, we've known each other 40 years. Like, how can they think this way? So there's
Mm.
a little bit of trying to grapple with that idea of, people
Yeah.
suddenly calling each other the enemy and saying, wait a minute, I vote different than you do. Am I actually the enemy? And
Yeah.
trying to put myself in that person's shoes as I'm writing the
Yeah.
lyrics for that particular song.
Yeah. It seems like the enemy is like more than half of the population right now. The enemy.
Yeah, that's obviously untenable. So we will have to find our way out of it somehow.
Yeah.
Um, there's no light at the end of the tunnel, I don't think, right this minute, but it can't stay as divided as it is forever.
Yeah. What I'm talking about the first album right now, but what is that song? Trust the Clown. What is that song
Trust the
about?
Clown was also written about Donald Trump.
Oh, okay.
And just this idea of people had that they were so frustrated with business as usual that
Mm.
they just thought to hell with it, right? Like, how can it get any worse? We'll just trust this guy. But this guy's kind of a complete buffoon.
Yeah.
So people were just that frustrated to go, or maybe that, I don't know, oblivious to go along with the guy. I realize I'm potentially insulting half my audience here, but
Yeah.
you know, there are a lot of issues that are important to people in their day-to-day lives. Like if you're a trans person, if you're LGBT, if
Yeah.
you're a woman, you know, it affects everybody on some level, these
Right.
social issues. And I'm just passionate about not going backwards, not going back to a time when,
Yeah.
you know, people got arrested or beat to death or whatever. We don't want to go back to that.
Yeah.
So it's important for me to use what voice I have to try to
No,
advocate for that.
I understand. I just sometimes get into it, and I shouldn't myself. I just see, for
I
that.
shouldn't assume that people agree with my personal
Well,
politics,
I
and I
do
don't really
agree
expect
because
them to be.
when I did my research, that's why I mentioned things like that because
Mhm.
I did the research, so I know that I could talk about a little bit about those things. But
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
I,
I
I
wouldn't if I knew that you were in the. I don't. You know how it
I want people to feel comfortable discussing it though, because it's part of the actual problem that we don't have conversations about the issues. We just
Yeah.
kind of yell at each other from across the room. So
Yeah.
I'm perfectly happy to talk about it while being sensitive to the fact that, like, hey,
Yeah.
just because you have a different political opinion than I do, and I wrote a couple of songs that you disagree with, doesn't
Yeah.
mean that we can't, you know, go to a show together. You might like the record anyway. I don't know. Try it out.
Yeah. Try. I mean,
Just play it and see if you like it. And if you do, cool. And if you don't, cool.
yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. It's always good. Before I did my interviews with in music, I used to do like politics and stuff in my
Okay.
podcast. And I interview a lot of immigrants that they would tell me their stories, how they came to the U.S. and how they got here, and they tell me about their families and stuff. I started with that, but then I'm like, that's not what I was pissed off, so I wanted to do it, but not because that I
Yeah.
really. And then I said, I should do music. That's what I like. What am I doing? What am I just yelling and stuff for? What? Nothing's gonna change. So let's do something that I really enjoy.
It makes good art too, though. So if you have a passionate opinion, you should say something about it. I
Well,
don't necessarily have to agree with it.
well,
If
I did that for
you're a
like,
musician or an artist, say
yeah,
your piece, man. That's what
yeah,
art is here for.
yeah. I know. I did for that for like a couple of years. So I was really hard on some of people that in the government, but I just gave
Hmm.
up. Gave up. But yeah. So tell me about your when you want to talk. Well, not well. Let's talk about the lyrics. When you write your own
Hmm.
lyrics,
Hmm.
are you looking for something specific to write about, like some themes that you want to talk, or is like whatever comes up, I just write it down, just what I feel at this moment, or you just write on a paper, I want to talk about this and that and the other thing and see how it comes out.
It started out as sort of a free for all, and you know, when I thought I had something to say, I would write it down. And interestingly enough, the two songs we've been talking about, they just kind of came out. Like I sat down and I was like, I'm pissed off about this situation, and I'm just gonna write it down, and so I did, and it came out okay. Um, Deceiver, I wrote sort of I let the music tell me what the song was about and then tried to write to
Mm,
that vibe. It's sort of a person who is always trying to twist a situation to their advantage, whether that's, you know, somebody you dated or somebody at work or a
mm,
politician, right? There's always
mm,
somebody out there that's willing to stretch the truth a little bit to kind of get ahead.
mm,
And that's what I heard in that song. Um, Interestingly, that song had kind of a long birth. It started as a track I wrote out of a jazz sample that I did for a YouTube channel. And
Oh.
I took that piece from the YouTube channel and turned it into a song and then wrote the lyrics to the song.
Hmm.
So it had sort of a multi-stage construction process, I guess. When it comes to the people I work with, I don't tell them anything usually.
Hmm.
I think I've been toying with, as I've been thinking about writing new material and what's coming next, I've been toying with the idea of giving them a theme that, like, okay, the record is going to be about whatever, right? And fit
Right.
it in your own way, but that's maybe I'll pick the title of the record and
Hmm.
encourage people to write something that kind of jives with that. I don't know.
Hmm.
I've been thinking about that.
Did you carry any songs from that album, from the 2023 album to the Static Skin album? Were it songs you took from them, like
Pyromancer was
leftovers?
the only, yeah, Pyromancer was the only leftover.
Hmm.
The other four, so Pyromancer and the two songs by Kimberly,
Okay.
those actually got, the instrumentals got built for, Pyromancer was left over and it got reworked. The other two were built from scratch for a Colin Spencer radio show episode where he does like three originals by the artist, and then the artist talks about three songs by somebody that influenced them.
Hmm.
So I did three songs by Frontline Assembly, and then as you're giving the interview, they're
Right.
playing the originals behind them. So that became the three female fronted songs. And
Right.
then I wrote the three male fronted songs to kind of counterbalance the record. So it was deliberately written as kind of dancey and lighter
Right.
versus heavier, but it wasn't, I didn't intend for it to be men and women broken down the way it is. It just kind of happened that way.
Hmm. That Kimberly Cornmeyer seems very interesting. Like you mentioned, she resides in Kurdistan. Like really,
Mm-hmm.
not a very touristic area, let's say. Uh,
And she's from Jersey too, so
yeah, from Newark. I
she's
found
from
out.
Jersey and
I'm
moved
like,
to
she's
Maine, and then yeah, and
from no,
she's great to work with. She works with all sorts of people,
yeah.
and she was really one of the first people I met online where I said, "Hey, I'm looking for people who might want to sing on these songs." She
Mm,
was one of the first people who put her hand up, and we did stay together on the first record, and then she's on two songs on this one.
right.
I love working with her. Her voice is great.
Yeah, she has a great voice. It's true. Tell me about that song, "Come as You Are." Why did you choose that Nirvana song?
So I had done a cover. I've done a few covers for compilations. The first one I did, Asia's Heat of the Moment, for a compilation called Retronomicon, which benefits Charles Levi of My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, who's dealing with
Asia.
some medical
You
issues.
mentioned Asia, the band in
Asia,
1982. Was it
that's
82?
correct.
With
Yep.
Kev? Yeah, yeah, I remember them.
Yep. And I did that with
It's a
Kimberly
great
as
band.
well. So
Hmm.
she pulled me in on that compilation. There was supposed to be a 90s follow up. That one was an 80s compilation. So I
Okay.
had done Come As You Are for the 90s compilation, but it fell apart and it
Oh.
never came out. So I put it out on Static Skin. Um, I had to pick a 90s song, and it was just that intro, like I heard it in my head with a synthesizer sound, basically exactly as I was able to put it
Right.
down on the record. And I just thought like either that or Heart Shaped Box with that kind of synthesizer
Oh,
sound
okay.
leading the song. And I thought, wow, either of those would be really great. But Come As You Are had it sounds really good as a metal riff. So
Yeah.
that was the one that I picked.
Yeah, it's a great. It's very sounds very 90s to me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
absolutely.
even now when you made the cover. Yeah. Uh, I remember first time I listened to Nirvana. I think it was on the radio
Hmm.
in the uh, and I don't know who they were. I just and they just play it, but for like a couple of weeks, and then never heard in the radio again. This the band. It's like they
Oh, it
just
was everywhere here.
yeah.
And
And
I hated it at first. I was listening to like Steve Vai and these shred guitar players, Megadeth, and these guys are playing like a million miles an hour. And then in comes Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden, and it's like
Yeah,
totally, totally different from what I was into. And
yeah,
it took 10, 15 years before I came around and, got a little distance from it. Nirvana, especially, I'm like, these songs are
yeah.
really good.
Yeah, the same thing happened to me. I was like, it's not that big. I mean, I saw the MTV, the acoustic,
Hmm.
Nirvana, all that. For me, it was okay, but it wasn't big deal for me. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know
I was a
what they
big
see.
Alice in Chains fan, but that was really the
Yeah,
only thing out of the Seattle scene that really
yeah,
grabbed me was Alice in Chains and Primus. I liked Primus, but
yeah,
Nirvana and Pearl Jam, it wasn't
yeah,
really
yeah.
my thing at the time.
Yeah, me too. The
And
same thing happened to me. The same thing. Exactly the same thing. And like the when uh, Tori Amos made a version of one of the Nirvana songs, totally
hmm
different. That's when I started getting into it again. When I heard that
hmm
song. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't into that until like not that long ago, maybe 10 years ago. I started listening to all
hmm
those Nirvana and
For me, it was
I
about
was more like
15,
into
10,
Rage,
15
Rage
years
in the
ago.
Machine. That was my
Yeah,
band
same,
because of the
same.
lyrics, because of the
Yeah.
politics. That's why I loved about
Yeah,
Tom
and I
Morello,
got
all
into
that.
Red Hot Chili Peppers
Yeah,
and REM. Like I kind of got into that end of alternative rock, but the Nirvana thing really didn't connect with me at first.
yeah, me neither. Me neither. I don't know. I was more into like hardcore music, like the Death Kennedys, Black Flag, all those bands.
Yeah, okay,
That was
okay.
my thing, at those times.
I was getting into thrash metal and kind of at that point, it's an interesting point in time to get into thrash metal, right? Like Metallica's Black album. It's kind of at its peak, but it won't be around much longer. So instead of going forward with those bands, I was going back and listening to like Master of Puppets and
Right.
Rust in Peace and those early thrash records while the Nirvana thing was happening.
Yeah.
I just was looking the other way. I was into
Yeah.
electronic music and thrash metal, and
Yeah.
there were only so many hours in the day.
Yeah, well, it's just even now myself, how much time do you have to listen to so much music out there? It's impossible to hear all of
Yeah.
it. So, you just gotta pick and choose what you want. Sometimes you pick the wrong one, sometimes you do pick the right ones. But it's hard.
I,
It's not that
I
easy.
try to have something on while I'm at work. If I'm not on the phone with a customer
Mm.
and I'm just writing code, I keep iTunes on and it shuffles albums all day. Interestingly, I was at the listening party on Bandcamp for the new Dog Tablet record, which is really good. Everybody should go listen to it.
Oh, yeah.
And a bunch of people remarked how great it is that a bunch of people are sitting down and listening to an entire album start to finish and how few people actually do that. I thought, wait a minute, I do that all the time. That's my preferred way to listen to music. I almost always listen to at least the majority of an album. I usually just don't put on songs.
Hmm. Well, I listened to Static Scan a couple, maybe 3 times, I think I did.
I
Uh,
appreciate that.
yeah, I don't know which songs I like the most, but Fall into Darkness, I guess it's one of my best, the ones I like the most. And Corpus is because it's the heavy track, I guess is the
Yeah,
so
Corpus was always going to be the lead track. Once it started coming together, it was pretty clear like this one, it has the dynamics, it has that dark, cool vibe. It sets the right
yeah.
tone for the album. And I love working with Lale Brown's vocals. He and I go back to like that 3 Pound Mind Trip era
Okay.
of music. He's from Rochester and he played in a band called Comacast, and we
Okay.
knew each other back then. And life kind of split off, and then again with COVID, a bunch of people started making
Mm.
music. We were still connected over Facebook. We got connected on Discord, and at some point, it was pretty natural. I've always wanted him to sing on something of mine and tried to get it together a couple times. Although he sang on the Die Warza tribute track for Regen magazine, Linoleum, that we did. He
Okay.
sang on that track.
Mm. Mm. Well, I read that I don't know if it was one of the interviews I read on I don't know, remember which magazine that they interviewed you, and you mentioned this album has two different personalities.
Hmm.
Can you expand on that for the people in Spain that they don't know?
Yeah, I think this is also something you alluded to earlier. Just stylistically, on my first record, it was kind of all over the place, and on the second record, at least I think I managed to narrow it down to two styles on the
Mm,
recording. One is more pop, right? It's uh, Fall into Darkness. It's both of the Kimberly tracks actually.
mm,
Um, and Pyromancer have this more like trippy, dark pop, kind of an aggressive pop feel to them. Whereas like Violent Delights is really
right.
more of a hardcore EBM track, and Big Fake World, like that's a metal song made with
Yeah, very
keyboards.
aggressive, I could say on
Yeah,
that one.
yeah, very aggressive, and it's riff based,
Yeah,
and Corpus has some of that in it too. So it's that tension between basically like the stuff that I like as a metalhead that comes out through the work that I do in this studio with synthesizers
mm,
versus the stuff that I like, Delirium and Depeche Mode, and
right.
some Nine Inch Nails is kind of like this too, where it's really more of
Yeah,
a pop production, if not a pop song. And that's
yeah,
where I feel that the sort of split is there, where half the album is kind of gritty and noisy and loud and angry, and the other half is kind of
yeah,
polished and blippy and
yeah.
dancey.
So, yeah, some are danceable and some are very aggressive at times, I guess.
Yeah,
So they
I
sound
think
a little
there's some.
commercial, a little, but also it's like underground at the same time. So I don't know. It's like it's.
Yeah, and that's something I consciously go for. I'm a huge KMFDM fan, and I've always loved how they've been able to do that. Where
Oh,
even
okay.
back in the '90s, I was very opinionated about music, and my friends in college thought it was best to just let me pick the music at the party rather than listening to me complain about what somebody else picked. So I
Mm,
would play like KMFDM's Extort record at parties all the time, and people loved it.
hmm.
And those are speed metal guitars on that
Yeah.
album, right? And I'd have girls come up to me and say, "Who is this? I've never heard this. I really like it." It had that dance beat behind it, and it had that the hooks to it. That's something that I just love in music and try to build it into what I do as well.
Hmm. I was gonna ask you regarding your how much do you I don't know practice, but you like in the studio, are you there every day doing things? So it's like a couple times a week, every day, three four
I'm
times
there
a week.
most days. Yeah, like
Hmm.
probably 5 days a week. I'm up here doing
Hmm.
something. I also mix for other people on occasion, so I've got some microwaved material that I've been mixing for Gabe that I'm working on now. So I'll be doing that, or I'll be doing a remix, or I'll be fiddling with a synthesizer, or writing, or I do something up here most days, pretty much
Hmm.
every day.
Yeah. Hmm. Does it make a difference in the morning or afternoon, or it's usually like in the evenings?
So I do work in here before work a lot,
Okay.
probably 3 days a week for probably 2 hours at a time. So I'm up here at 6:45, 7 o'clock in the morning. That's great for preparing vocals and laying out mixes and kind of doing the mechanical labor. I get through it real fast. My brain is sharp, and I can organize everything really
Hmm.
well. I like to do the more creative and experimental stuff late at night. So a lot of times I'll be up here twice, once in the morning and once at night. But I do tend to do the more creative songwriting, especially sound design, just like creating sounds on the synthesizers or pulling together a drum kit on the MPC or something like that. I do a lot of that at night.
Hmm. How often do you go and see other people, other artists or shows out there?
A few times a year.
Few times.
I'd like to go more,
Mm.
but
And how often do you get in touch with other musicians or people that you might think they want to collaborate with you?
yeah, people who might want to collaborate with me, I would say occasionally, every couple of weeks. I've got a bit of a Rolodex, and there are a lot of my contacts I talk with on Discord. So I'll talk with them all the time.
Hmm.
And then when I have something, either somebody will say, "Hey, that's cool. Can I work on that with you?" Or I'll specifically ask a person who I think would be good for that particular song. Hey, I'm doing X. Can you want to throw a vocal on it or something like that?
Hmm. Uh, the I was going to ask you regarding your other activity where you do the software engineer.
Hmm.
Are there other people that are into music that work with you at all, or they just
Tons of
do?
them.
They are.
The software industry is loaded with musicians. Yeah.
But I mean, that work
They're
with you next to you,
Oh, work with
or that
me.
you.
Yeah. So yeah.
I
I mean,
like people that they know what kind of music you make, and they tell you, well, what the
there's a
hell?
couple of
I don't know.
guys at work that are interested enough that I give them the stuff. People are interested. I'll give it to them. My boss plays guitar, and
Okay.
my direct counterpart on the marketing side plays guitar. That's kind of actually how I got back into music at COVID. A guy I
Hmm.
worked with had inherited like 250 guitars from his
What
dad.
the?
Yeah, and he's like, "Do you want to buy a Les Paul?" And I was like, "Not really, but what else do you have?" Um, so I went
Wow.
over there and I bought a Paul Reed Smith, which I'd always wanted, and that also helped jumpstart things. And that was kind of the thought was, if I got a
Hmm.
new toy, maybe I'll play more often, and this will snowball, and it eventually did. Although I don't play guitar as much as I would like.
Hmm. Why is that you don't play guitar? Is there something that is?
Oh, there's only so many hours in the day. I
Hmm.
just don't always have time. I try to play a couple of days a week, but sometimes it'll be weeks
Hmm.
between me picking up the guitars.
Hmm. I was going to ask you a stupid question, but how much is your electricity bill? Is it high?
Uh,
Just
the studio doesn't really. It's more, but it's not as much as you'd think. I live in an old house
okay.
for America. For people in the United States, 110 years old is old.
Wow, it is. Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's a pretty old house. So like the heating and air conditioning are pretty inefficient, and I tend to use more energy just because of that. I don't know, it maybe added 10% to the bill. It wasn't that
Mm.
bad.
It wasn't that bad. I mean, because Buffalo, especially in the winter, I don't know. It's like
Yeah, the gas bill gets expensive in the
the
winter,
gas
that's for
bill, the
sure.
gas bill.
Yeah.
Mm. Do you travel often? Do you go out of state? Or it's been a while since you, or because
Not
of
as
your
much as I
work? I
used
don't know.
to. Yeah, not as much as I used to. I used to travel quite a lot for work.
Mm.
And between switching jobs and then COVID, a lot of the in-person meetings in the software industry, I think we just realized like we really didn't have to do it to be productive. So
Mm.
when travel restrictions got lifted, we just didn't because it was cheaper to not fly people all over the place.
Mm.
I do still travel a few times a year for work, say three, four times.
Okay.
And I go to shows. I'm a big kart racing fan. I used to race go-karts.
Oh,
So
really?
I would travel all over the Northeast to race, and I travel all over the country for spectating.
Hmm. Wow.
I'll
So,
be in Milwaukee later this year
oh
for
yeah.
an Indy car race.
Wow. Do you like Formula One car race or no?
I do, yeah. That was
Okay.
actually where I was before this interview was watching the Miami race.
Oh, okay. So you are into sports, but more like speed sports, like
Yeah,
of football, I guess. Buffalo. Well, yeah, Buffalo. They have the football.
football, definitely Buffalo Bills and the Buffalo Sabres right now are playing
Okay.
really
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hockey.
Yeah.
So I'm not a huge hockey fan, but I'm keeping an eye on it from the sidelines. I'm excited. I'm excited.
You like them to
Hopefully
win,
they go
even
all the
if you
way.
don't know their names, but you
Yeah,
want them to.
I mean, we've never won a Stanley Cup and we've never won a Super Bowl, so we deserve something. And if it's the Stanley Cup, then so be it. I'm more of a Bills fan than a Sabres fan, but definitely take it.
Yeah. Well, not into. I was into sports a lot before. I just follow soccer and tennis now. I'm like
Mm.
very soon I'll be following chess only. I don't know. I don't
You
know.
have to pick and choose as you get older and you have,
Yeah.
your
I used to
hobbies and
love the
figure out
Giants in the
something.
80s. I was following the
Yeah, there
Giants. I
you
was a Giants fan in the 80s. Then after they went downhill for a while, and then I said I gave up on them, and then I never went back.
go.
That's how good a fan I am. Once they don't they lose, I just throw my jerseys
Yeah,
and everything out. I don't want
yeah,
anything to do with them anymore.
bad for a long time. So I don't blame you. It's kind of the way the Sabres were. This is their first playoffs in 14 years.
Yeah, yeah.
In
Well,
that time, you just get tired of watching them lose all the time and wander
I
off.
yeah, that's what happened to me. Oh
Hmm.
well, what can you do? So, are you? I guess you're got a lot of songs already, but probably in a hard drive or some digitally storage place that you keep adding stuff. I guess.
Yeah, it usually winds up on my MPC at first. I do all the initial composing usually on the MPC. So there's a few things that are on the MPC. I mean, Static Skin just got finished. Like,
Hmm.
I only finished mixing the record like 3 weeks before it came out. And
Okay.
then there's a fair amount of work just promoting it and making sure that it comes out at the right time and getting the artwork squared away. I'm going to be putting out a remix record as well.
Okay.
I got about a dozen remixes for Static Skin. Most of
Oh.
them I've got in. I'm waiting for a couple of more. So that's looking like early to mid June.
Oh. Okay.
And I've been mixing for microwave. So I kind of went right into the microwaved work and I did some remixing for Crushed Opiates and who else do I have coming out? I can't
Oh.
remember. I've been doing so much remixing work. I'm sorry to whoever's
Yeah.
remix that was. Um, so I had a bunch of remixes to do and then started mixing, and I just haven't gotten back
Mm.
into writing yet. There are a couple of things left over from Static Skin. I don't think there's anything like Pyromancer that was basically a song that was finished that I
Right.
just didn't find anybody who wanted to sing on it the first time around. But there are
Mm.
things that I can probably break down and pull a bit here and a bit there and
Right.
probably make a song out of those.
That sounds interesting. I'll be, I'll be following you. I've been following you. I just waiting for news.
Yeah. Well,
uh,
there's the news is the remix
those are the
record is
news.
coming.
You haven't said that, and well, I just follow you on Instagram, but you keep
Yeah.
there's not much action, let's say, in
Yeah.
those social media places that I can.
Hard to say interesting things all the time, so
Yeah.
I don't. When there's something to say, I'll share it.
Yes.
Yeah, I just I haven't been I don't have anything new written yet.
Right.
It's been mostly the remixes that I've been concentrated on. So the remix record in June, and then I'll spend the summer writing. That's the plan: is spend the summer writing and try to get something out. I think it'll be another EP, but smaller, like
Hmm.
in the fall.
Okay.
I don't love singles. I prefer like an album. Actually, I prefer an album, but it takes a lot of work to make an album. So
At
I'm
least four
thinking
or five
that,
songs.
yeah, I'm thinking that if I can get to like four songs and
Yeah.
they hang together well, that I might just put that out. But we'll see if I wind up with 10 half finished songs, then it'll probably be an album.
That's great. Well, I know I checked you at Stat by Prongs at bandcamp.com. That's where you can find those albums, those two releases, the
Yep.
singles, easy to find.
Yep. On streaming
I
as well.
the first time they passed the name Stat by Prongs, I made a mistake. I wrote it down as Death by Prongs. I was like,
Mm.
oh man. William is like, I don't know, but that's not the name. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. It sounds good. Also, it sounds good. Also, Death by Bronx. Why not?
It does sound good. Interestingly, if you search for "Stab by Prongs" on Facebook, you'll get a warning that says that this might be violent or graphic or whatever, and it's not. The my bark
You,
is worse than my bite, but it is
yeah,
kind of funny. I thought, oh, somebody pointed that out to me, and I thought, if I had known that before, maybe I would have changed the name.
No, it's very.
Might turn people off.
No, it didn't turn me off for sure.
Cool.
I really enjoyed it.
There's
So,
another one of those things like every band I've ever been in got named by the first name that nobody hated.
hmm,
Um, and then you're kind of stuck with it, right? Like you can't really change it later. I'm still happy with the name, but it was like it popped into my head, and I was like, I don't hate that. Let's move on to something else. And it was Stabbed by Prongs from there on out.
yeah,
It
yeah,
abbreviates well,
yeah,
so it's good.
yeah.
SPP.
STP sounds like an oil filter. STP.
Yeah, STP was, yeah. Also Stone Temple Pilots,
Oh,
so
that's
maybe
true
I'll get
too. That even
confused for
better.
Stone Temple Pilots.
Even better. Even better. Well, I just want to let my viewers and listeners check Craig Stab by Proms, the Apple Music and Deezer and all those music, Amazon Music. Even if
Hmm.
you enjoy Spotify, you can find him there. You know,
It's
it's
everywhere.
everywhere. Now it's everywhere. So that's what I'm being listening to you on Deezer.
Cool.
So I don't know if the quality is as good as others, but I don't have
I
Apple
don't
Music.
know.
I don't
I'm
know.
an Apple Music guy. That's what I
I don't
stream
have
it on.
I don't have any. I don't have anything that has to do with app. I don't have a phone. I don't have a
Oh,
PC. I don't have a laptop. I have nothing with that. I always been like a Windows guy because I don't know. It's really bad, but I don't want to move. It's not. I know
I
Windows sucks, but still, that's what I have.
well, being a professional software engineer, I switched to Mac because like every 6 months I had to take my Windows machine and erase it because it would
Yeah,
start to flake out. And if you've got work to do on a deadline, the machine has to work properly.
yeah,
And when I
yeah,
switched to Mac, I stopped having to do that. They just run and run and run, and I don't have to screw around with it. Um,
yeah,
and over time, it just like when you do some kind of work like that on a computer professionally, it just pays for itself over time. It's more expensive, but you know,
yeah. Well, that's what
my
my daughters
hassle is
tell
worth
me.
it.
My daughters tell me that all the time. Why do you have those Windows laptops? You have like
Yeah.
6 or 7 Windows laptops. What do you need all of them for? Well, I just keep switching every time the storage keeps going up. I don't know. I even know how to remove files. I'm trying to. I'm afraid I'm gonna destroy my stuff. So
Uh huh.
I just don't erase anything, and then the storage gets full. So I use another one. I just keep jumping
I
from.
I am very paranoid about the backups because of my job. So there's
Yeah,
a there's an enterprise quality backup scheme going in the studio, so I don't lose anything.
yeah, right. Yeah. Anyway, so that's how it is. Yeah. So, like I said, I really enjoy talking to you. Uh,
Awesome.
Static Skin just came out a couple months ago. 2026 is this year.
That's
So
right.
still got a long time to. Well, I'm thinking maybe one day I'll make it to Buffalo. Why not?
Sure.
Maybe
Give me a
maybe
call.
for my vacation because I don't my the problem is my wife, Craig. She doesn't want to go more than like 3 hour, 4 hour drive.
Uh,
She doesn't want to take a plane, no train. She just wants to drive. Well, I have to drive, but she doesn't want to go any further than like 3 or 4 hours, like a lot. So I'm like,
mhm.
how I'm gonna keep going to the same spot every time because
Yeah.
where can I go in 3 hours? I
Well,
make it to New
convince her
York.
that Niagara Falls is beautiful
Yeah.
because it is, but you kind of have to go to the Canadian side to see it.
Yeah, no, I know.
Canadian side is
I went to
nicer.
Montreal and Quebec, but but
Oh,
but,
Montreal's
that,
beautiful.
but she doesn't want to go that far anymore. So I'm like, where
Uh,
am I gonna go next? I don't know.
Bummer.
Bummer, Buffalo. Is there anything to do besides I don't know,
We
bus?
have good art museums. We have more Frank Lloyd Wright buildings than any
Right.
place but Chicago. So if you're into like art and architecture, it's a great place for that. History. There are good wineries here if you come at the right time of the year, and also like right over the border in Canada, Niagara on the Lake is a really good wine region.
Yeah.
Pro
I
sports.
I got a
We
week.
have,
I got a week in
yeah.
September, first week. And I'm
There you
like,
go.
where should I go? Where should I go? Last time I went to Providence because it wasn't that far, Rhode Island.
Hmm.
So I made it. But I'm like, I have to go further.
Providence is nice. I've been there too.
Yeah, so I mean, I have to go a little further up.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
maybe I'll go to Buffalo. Why not this time? September is not as cold, still good
yeah.
weather,
It,
not that
it won't
bad.
be super hot either. It gets really muggy up here in the summer. And
Right.
people think that we're covered in snow like 365 days a year, but in August it sucks. It's super hot.
And
Don't
humid.
come in August.
No, I think in September, that's when I'm going,
Yeah,
first week. So
yeah.
maybe
It starts to get nice September, October.
that'll be nice. Maybe I'll stop by your house, bother you a little bit,
Of course.
see what the hell you're
See
doing
the
in there.
studio.
See the studio and show me all the gadgets and stuff you have
Hmm.
over there. Yeah, so it was a pleasure talking to you, Craig. I'm gonna be like I said, listen to a Static Skin. I don't know which one is. They had to choose only to listen to one of them. The first one, I don't know. Maybe
If
they
they had
just.
to choose one, I think Corpus is the first song. Is kind of the. It's a good sampler of what the
Mm,
record is. You'll find bits
mm,
of Corpus in every song on the record.
okay, all right.
So I would start there. Yeah.
Start there. I'll tell my wife to listen to this album. She
Cool.
usually listens to all the albums that are, at least one of the artists that I interview. She hasn't listened
Hmm.
to any of those two yet. Uh, she has to listen to the Status Skin because the latest ones. See what she thinks about. Uh,
Appreciate every listen I can get.
yeah, let's see what she thinks. My dogs, they don't give me an opinion, so I don't know.
Mine either.
They they don't know if you are a rock artist or anything. They just want to eat and walk. They don't know what the hell you do.
Yep, that's exactly right.
So
Mine
I
won't come up the attic where the studio is, so
you are in the
they're stuck
attic.
downstairs. Yeah, they're afraid to come up the stairs for some reason.
Mm,
My
the,
old guy slipped on the stairs, and I think the other one won't come up because he thinks he's not allowed because the older dog doesn't come up.
you got two dogs? I got two
I have
dogs.
two dogs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me too. I got two dogs. Maybe they don't like the name of your project. I don't know.
I maybe it's haunted up here. I haven't
Maybe.
seen any ghosts or anything, but dogs know things that people don't.
How
Who
long
can
have you been
say?
living in that house? Is it
15 years.
quite some time.
Yeah.
So you don't hear any crazy sounds at night, right? No, not such a
No,
thing.
I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure
believe.
it's not haunted.
I don't believe in that stuff anyway.
Me neither.
Maybe it's rotten wood that's falling apart, all those noises, or who knows. But
Hmm.
that's about it. You got to find a natural explanation. Don't look for other stuff.
You get used to those noises. I don't even hear it anymore. I'm sure the house creaks all the time, but I
Yeah.
don't even hear it.
Oh well. So thanks so much, Craig. I appreciate
Thank you
you
very
talking to
much.
me. Now I know more about your project, and I'll just keep listening. You're a good guy. You are in my good friends list right now.
Awesome. Awesome.
So have a
Happy
great whatever is
happy to
left,
be here.
whatever is left of Sunday, which is not much now. So
Now, a couple hours.
couple hours.
Still time to get some work done in the studio.
Oh, you still got you got. That's right. You don't have to drive anywhere. You were there.
Yep, I'm right here.
Just feed your dogs before you start working again.
I'm sure they'd love that. They already ate dinner.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Got you. Thank you so much, my
Thank you,
friends.
Jose.
See you maybe someday again. Who knows?
Let's hope so.
In
I'd
the
like that.
future. If things go well in this country and everything clears up and all the smoke clears, we'll be all right. Just be patient.
I will.
Thank you. See you next time.
Thank you, sir.
Bye bye.